Hi guys, how are you today? It's Godly CS here. Just a home passing time, and I thought I'd share something really quick. It's a question someone asked me about someone they're dating. They're speaking to someone, they're speaking to a guy, and what the person said to me was that they've been praying about this person to see if this is a person that they should marry or waiting to hear from God. Now, I'm just sharing my, 2p about situations like this out of experience. I'm not an expert on this, but just giving my own take on, what my experiences were. So this is what I say to the person. I found during my dating days that when I was talking to guys, when I was trying to get to know people, there were so many ways that God used to kind of, reach out or to show me which direction, things should go for me. I've had people say, oh, I've asked God that, we all say, crazy things, but I've had someone say that, oh, if they've asked God for a sign, if maybe the neighbor's dog barks 3 times today or something along those lines. I'm not saying it's crazy, each to their own. But then probably that would be a sign to them that, this person is supposed to be in their lives or they're supposed to marry that person. But this is what I would say. A decision to get to marry someone is one of the, apart from accepting Christ, is one of the, most important decisions that we'll ever make in our lives. It's like the second most, important decision of your life aside giving your life to Christ. So I would say when you are in doubt or you're praying over someone to see, if, to hear what God has to say, one of the first advice I will give to anybody is that you have to detach yourself emotionally. Once you meet someone, for me, it got to a point where most of the battle was around detaching myself or making sure that I'm not emotionally attached to you. Like I'll fight even if it's someone that I really like. There are so many things that I should like about you. It's so obvious I should like you. I would fight that battle to distance myself. And what I used to say, one of the things I used to do is maybe I'll speak to the person and just be honest. I say, look, go away and pray. Yes, I know you like me. I might also like you, but you need to go away. Give yourself some time to pray. I'll give myself time to pray. Let's give it a week to begin with and see what God says. And I tried that, and sometimes God will speak really quick. He will show me something or he will show them something. But I also noticed that sometimes you're telling people to go away and ask God or find out what God is saying, and they are very challenging because they don't know how to hear God's voice. They don't know how God speaks. They are confused. Like, what do you mean? Like, how is God supposed to tell me who to marry or whatever? I'm like, okay, there are so many ways. There are so many gestures. There are so many ways God is speaking to us. Sometimes we just don't even know that it's Him. So sometimes they will challenge you. They'll say, okay, I'll go away and do it, but they don't really understand what they're going away to do. So they come back sometimes and lie and say, oh yeah, I just know it's you. I've got this peace. I'm like, no, it's not just about. Yeah, sometimes it can be just about the peace, but sometimes don't just go off one thing, right? Just don't just go off one thing, one sign, and say, oh, this is it. I would test it with several things, especially maybe for me after I learned the hard way. I mean, God had to intervene and just make it very, very clear. But one of the advices that I was saying to someone, what I experienced in my situation is that, one, God can speak to you very, very clearly through a dream, through a vision, or send someone to say something really random to them, but to you, it exactly refers to the situation you're in regards to dating this person. I remember situations where I'll start speaking to a guy, and the minute I go to ask God, He will send me some crazy dream. I remember some of the dreams I had. I would see a road, a two-way road with someone's name written on it, the same person that I'm speaking to at the time, with a two-way road. One side is extremely rough, the other one is smooth. And I would just wake up from the dream. I'm like, oh, okay, do you know what, God? This is, quite clear here what you're trying to, to show me. Be very, very careful of this person in as much as they are showing you, a very good side. They've got a nasty side to them. And then I'll end it there and then. I think one of the things that I would say to the old me is that
if you're praying about someone and the messages you're getting, it may be very good. Most of it may be looking very good, but if there's even one tiny negative about that dream or that message that you're getting, I'll say run. It's not supposed to be like that. Like if it's a go, if it's a green light for you to go, it should be all green. It shouldn't be like there is a circle somewhere. That means that person may not be in your path for you. It's not God's will for you. Just run. Save yourself the trouble of having to remember how, God was warning you about not marrying this person and you still went ahead. I remember another guy I was speaking to, and again, I think this time it was a vision. We were talking, I'd been speaking to him for like a month, and all of a sudden I started getting these warning dreams, visions when I was starting to get serious with him. I remember seeing a pond that was extremely dirty, filled with all kinds of things, like as if God is telling me this person is not someone you want to be messing around with. It's contaminated. There's all sorts of things going on with this person. I still didn't listen, and then God continued to hammer me with different dreams. Some of them I can't even remember, but they were really bad, until I prayed for the strength to cut myself away and distance myself from this person. There were so many things. I remember one guy that came to visit me many years ago at the time where the place where I was staying. We were chatting, and this is the first time we had arranged like a face-to-face date. The person sat down. I went to serve them. I think I was serving them, something to eat or whatever. And immediately I had a very sharp vision of a vicious dog, very black dog, like a bulldog, like sitting up right next to this person. And I was like, it was very scary. I had to like, what did I just see? Did I really just see that? And I was like, there's something wrong about this person. There's definitely something wrong about this person. I couldn't put my hand on it. So I became very scared of what I'd seen. Continued the conversation. Said bye to them. They went home. That night, I had another vision relating to them, like a wall where they were sitting in my house. But this time the wall was black, but it was marked with a lot of blood, like someone throwing blood at the whole wall was marked, with blood. And it was clearly relating to this particular man that he was sitting, by that wall. I was like, I just sent them a text and said, sorry. I didn't tell them why. I'm just like, cut myself off, leave it alone. So, but one of the other ways that I realized that God speaks, you could be like this friend of mine that was asking me about what they need to do, how they are going to. And I said to them, but then also when they discussed some other aspects of what they were going through with this person, to me it was pretty clear. What I said to them was that sometimes you're asking God about a person, but God not necessarily tell you a particular something about them. It's just quiet. It's looking that it's silent. But for me, what he used to do is that then he will expose them. He will expose their circumstances to me. God has given us common sense for a reason. He's given us brains to think for ourselves. He's given us the capacity to make decisions, to think for ourselves. It's not everything that He's going to think for you. Right? We will all want to tell ourselves that, the Holy Spirit tells me everything. He tells me now turn right, now turn left. Like with everything, there's a lot of things He will lead us, but He's also given you a brain to use. He expects you to use your discernment. He's expecting you to be able to use the information He provides for you to make decisions, because He's created you in a way that you're able to make those decisions. You're more than capable to make those decisions, of making those decisions. So I said to this person, look at the things that the Lord is exposing. Don't just look out for the, a dream or a vision. Look at the things, because for me, what used to happen is that within talking for a few days, He will expose a situation. Maybe that person lied in the beginning. Now they're coming up to say, I've got 4 children or 4 different baby mamas and stuff. I'm like, that didn't come out before. But God will expose them to either start saying things without realizing they're giving you the information you need to make a decision. Use that information to wait with what you've been praying for. Is this the type of person you've been praying for? Does it match the dream that you have for yourself, the person you want to end up with? Does it match your values? Look at the signs all around you. Look at all the things that have been exposed. Don't say, I'm seeing all these negative things about this person, but I'm still waiting for God to speak. Sometimes that's God speaking, telling you, look, I've given you all the information right there. Make a decision, right? There are certain things, situations for me I look at and that make me aware that, look, it's not everything that God is going to, tell us all the way. He's expecting you to use your brain. I was doing my Bible study the other day, and I came across a situation in the book of Genesis where Noah, after he built the ark, after the flood waters dried and stuff, God told him what would happen and how he would preserve him and all the things he told him to put in the boat and stuff. But you don't hear God again coming back to speak to Noah about how he should leave the boat and what the steps he would take to make sure it's safe outside. This guy goes off his own, what do you call it? Discernment of the situation, or his own, knowledge, or probably understanding his own. He uses his own brain, basically. This is what I'm trying to say, okay, let me test this. Let me send out a bird. He sent out birds, I think, about on 3 different occasions. The first one went and he didn't return. I think the other one came and, returned with a olive leaf or something like that. And each of those signs was showing him that, okay, now the waters have reduced this to the level that, the tops of the trees are, are visible, that, this bird is able to pinch off, a little leaf and bring it to me, or the water has reduced enough that this bird is able to go and doesn't return because it has somewhere to land. The one that came back couldn't find anywhere to land. He tested and he kept adjusting himself based on, the results he was getting, to the point to say, okay, you know what? I think now the water has basically disappeared and is safe for me to let the things get out of the ark and go back to living normal life. So some of the things, don't just sit there and just wait. Some of the things you're expected to use what you have, because it's already in you. You're already equipped to make these decisions. So going back to what I was saying is that look out for the signs. If you find yourself in this situation, look out for the things that God is already exposing. There's no point in praying. He's already answering by exposing that person, because he knows this is not what you want. This is not what you're praying for. So sometimes you see those signs and run a mile, because that is the information you're looking for. But also be very, very careful about, if you already have certain things that you like, some deal breakers, because I've learned now that God really respects that. He respects them. Yeah, there are some that, he will not give you maybe 100% of everything that you may have asked for. Some of them he will remove them because they're irrelevant, but then he will also give you things of great value with the person that he gives to you. For example, I'm not gonna say some of the things that were deal breakers for me, because maybe I'll sound really vain. But for me, the part of where I made the first mistake is that I went back on my own word, where I said, oh, I don't want this kind of a person. Like, okay, I'll mention one of them. One of the things I never wanted my entire life was to end up with someone that had children. Not because I'm being selfish or whatever, but because the way I am, I'm like, the stories I'd had about maybe baby mamas from hell or situations like that, I didn't feel like I was the type of person that would be able to cope with that kind of a situation. What was the other one? Someone that was married before, because again, the issues that come with that and stuff. But then the day I compromised, for whatever reason, the day that I allowed the enemy to corner me into compromising on those things, I know that I was compromising on those things because there was a lot of other nice things on my list that I'd been praying for. No, there wasn't. A lot of those things were not there, but I still, decided to break my own rules and say, oh, let me try this one. And I tried it. God tried to warn me. I didn't listen. It stuck. And I paid the price for, first of all, not listening to what I really want within, what I've wanted for a very long time, what I've asked God for a very long time. And when I went back on the drawing board, repented and, told God that, look, this time around, I'm going to wait on you. I'm going to wait on you to work, things that I realized that are almost, I would say 8.5 of the things that are out of 10 that I put on the list that the prayers I've been praying for a very, very long time. I realized that this time around he had granted me my heart's desire. He had granted me, and the only things he didn't grant on that list were things that were really, really vain. That now I look back and I'm like, okay, those things really did not matter, have nothing to do with, what goes on in reality or in real life. So yeah, not to make this very long, yeah, listen out. God is more than faithful. He will speak to you about that person. Look out for how he speaks. also look at, you know, how that person is presenting. Look at the obvious, you know, the what's in front of you, because that's another form of, you know, him speaking. And also test it with different, don't just go off one thing and say, oh, this is like, once you get one sign, even if he speaks once, wait for him to speak again. Like, you know, have different things that you can go by to say, okay, do you know what, I know God did not just speak to me once about this person, but another confirmation came, so I'm obviously sure. So anyway, thank you very much. I think they're doing some drilling outside. There's a lot of noise coming in. I'll end this here. Thank you very much. Bye.